Good evening, everyone. This is Garret reporting live from the heart of our community, where the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic have significantly altered the landscape of education. Today, we bring you unique perspective from the students at the community center facing internet challenges, parents at the supermarket undergoing high prices, and health issues faced by mask wearing. Join us as we explore the highs and the lows of these challenges citizens face as a result of this pandemic. Today, we are going to hear the voice of these students who are grappling with this connectivity crisis. They will be sharing their stories, shedding light on the hurdles they face daily as they strive to maintain a sense of normality in this unpredictable crisis. Today, we are at the Chartwood Center with a few students from the Chartwood practicing an infant school. And today, we'll be hearing what is the experience like with online schooling. Let's delve into it. Hello, good day.
Present, Miss.
What's your name?
My name is Chloe Bailey.
Chloe Bailey. What is the experience like with online schooling?
It don't make sense. I
What?
don't think it makes any sense.
What makes it not make sense?
Because I bet time internet chip out and chip in, and that can be frustrated.
Okay. So you're saying that the internet is not really stable?
No.
Okay, thank you, Miss Chloe Bailey. Good day, what's your name?
I'm Kimone.
Kimone. What is the experience like with online schooling?
Not a nice one.
It's not a nice one.
Not
Why?
a nice one. The internet, and I'm not a virtual learner.
Right. So you're more of a face-to-face, hands-on.
Face-to-face, hands-on.
Right. Understand. Hello, good day.
Good day.
What's your name?
Sarah Gordon.
Sarah Garden. What is the experience like with online schooling?
I don't learn nothing.
Not really. Why?
The teacher, she has stuff on the quick never make nice. This never make no sense.
Okay. Hello, Jamaica. We would have heard these challenges that the students at Chartwood practicing at infant school are facing because of COVID-19, which forced them to be at the community center. But let's go down to the Chartwood Health Center to see what's happening. Today, we're at the Chartwood Health Center to ask what is happening as it relates to these mask challenges. And I stepped into the health center, I realized that there's a patient here. So let's just ask what had happened. Hello. Good day. What happened to her?
So we were in class and she started feeling chest pains. I didn't know that she has asthma, which she just fell and I had to take her here to the nurse office.
Okay.
So
Okay.
the nurse is going to do that very well. You have an alright here?
I have to get it. I can't do it on the back.
Sit up and lean back. Sit up. Lean.
Breathe in, breathe out.
In, breathe out. Hold the mask a little bit.
Come on, come on.
Put that.
So, Nurse Reynolds, what is it that you're saying? Because I realize that this COVID-19 pandemic is really causing these challenges in the school and everywhere. What is your recommendation? Because I realize that the mask is a problem, especially for asthma patients. What is it that you're recommending?
So in this case, the mask, it doesn't help at all.
Right.
Because this is disabling you from breathing. So my requirement or my recommendation is persons could just stock up on vitamins and stuff like that in order to fight diseases or infections. So that's just my 2 cents.
Alright, Jamaica, we would have just heard recommendations from Nurse Reynolds. She is saying that the mask doesn't really mean that it's going to stop you from getting COVID-19, right? And we all know that having asthma is not something that is very good. You have to make sure that you're breathing in on the right things and you are having proper atmospheric substances entering into your system. So Nurse Reynolds, once again, we want to thank you.
You're welcome.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another panel discussion where we focus on the theme shedding light on the issues that citizens face on the COVID-19. Now, before we begin, I want to bring you back to what happened before just now. So we would have visited the Sharpwood Community Center where we spoke to students who are facing difficulties with online schooling. We would have spoken to numerous persons from the Ministry of Health and Wellness at the Sharpwood Health Center, and we would have spoken to customers at supermarket who complained about the high price rate of goods and services. So, hence the reason why it pushed me to interview three lovely ladies from different company and organizations today. So we have Miss Kimone Reynolds, who is a representative from the Ministry of Health and Wellness. We have Miss Sashise Deacon, who is a merchandiser for Grace Kennedy Limited Production. And we have Mrs. Annisa Thomas Mahoney, who is a principal at the Sharpwood Training Primary and Infant School and also a representative from the Ministry of Education and Youth. So today we will be talking about online schooling, high price rate, and mask wearing as three pressing issues caused by COVID-19. So, Ms. Reynolds will be focusing on the causes, effects, and a solution for mask wearing. Ms. Sashise Deacon will be focusing on the causes, effects, and a solution for the high price rates of goods and services. And Mrs. Mahoney will be focusing on online schooling, again, causes, effects, and solution. So stay tuned as my lovely panelists shed light on these pressing issues. So Miss Reynolds, what are the causes of mask wearing?
No, as you know, mask wearing became prevalent because of COVID-19.
Yes.
Now, many people aren't familiar with the causes and effects, but COVID-19 is a respiratory illness. And as a result, mask wearing became mandatory by the government.
Right.
So it primarily spreads through droplets, and as a result, the mask is very effective because when we speak, you know that droplets of saliva goes into the air, and that is a major impact, a major cause. Now, the effects, it reduces transmission of the virus, as I was saying earlier.
Right.
And even though the challenges such as discomfort and communication difficulties and misconceptions because of the mask happens, we still have to wear it.
Right. So, is it that you're saying that the mask wearing helps with the pandemic? Right, right. And I like the effect that you bring across, but I really don't. Panelists, can I put Miss Reynolds on the spot? Because I really want to ask her a question that might challenge her profession. I really don't want that, but can I go ahead?
Sure.
Right. So, Miss Reynolds, my question to you, I hope anybody from the Ministry of Health and Wellness is not watching this live. But, Miss Reynolds, do you think that the implementation of mask wearing is something that should be mandatory?
From my personal perspective.
Okay, go ahead. I mean, guys, she's saving herself. She's saying that she's going to answer from her personal perspective. Go ahead.
Well, if something is respiratory and is spread through droplets, mask wearing should be mandatory.
Should be mandatory.
Yes.
And Miss Reynolds, I want to say that you're not working with me now because I'm an asthma patient, and whenever I wear the mask, it makes my chest tighten up. What is it that you're going to tell me to do now?
Alright, so it is mandatory that you stay home. I'm not saying that you can't remove the mask at some point in time, but in public spaces it will be difficult for you. The sun, the heat, it will cause you to feel suffocated. So it is best to get a work from home if that works well with you, and not directly be isolated,
Uh-huh.
but to be in your own space.
Okay. Jamaica, you'd have heard that from a representative from the Ministry of Health and Wellness, Miss Reynolds. She did say as an asthma patient, if you are suffering from tightness of chest, as for me, whenever I'm in a closed area, I tend to get very hot, and then that triggers my asthma. So a solution to that, Jamaica, stay home, get a work from home. Okay, back to you, Miss Reynolds. What solution are you going to give to the Jamaican citizens, or let me say the world as a whole, because we need to accept that COVID-19 is not something that is in Jamaica. It is something that is over the world, but we're focused on Jamaica as a whole. But what is it that you're going to give to the people, the citizens of Jamaica? What solution are you going to bring to the table?
Alright, so my solution is to openly discuss the causes, the effects of COVID-19. The people should know what would happen in the event that the mask isn't worn. So my solution is to get comfortable mask designs so you can feel good wearing them. So that's the only thing.
Right, and I really think that citizens are not really educated about the importance of wearing this mask and what can happen if you don't wear the mask, what can happen if you catch the virus. So I think a sensitization session, Ms. Reynolds, would be good. Jamaica, you would have heard these powerful words, you would have heard these arguments from Ms. Reynolds, who is a representative from the Ministry of Health and Wellness. Ms. Reynolds, I want to thank you. We're going over to Ms. Sashise Deacon, who is a merchandiser at the Grace Kennedy Limited production.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome, Ms. Deacon. Ms. Deacon, first thing first, what are the causes of the high price rates?
Alright, so since the pandemic, many challenges have arisen in our day-to-day living, and high consumer rates is one of those many difficulties, right? So it has brought havoc in our healthcare, in our supply for chains, businesses, and loss for income, right? So the causes, as you asked for, it increased a demand for essential goods and services during the pandemic. Alright, so supply chains have been disrupted and shortages.
So, Jamaica, we had a little breaking intermission a while ago, and we're still with Miss Deacon. She was giving us the causes of the high price rate, and Miss Deacon, we're over back to you.
Alright, so the pandemic has increased the demand for essential goods and services. Consumers may experience high prices for goods and services, as well as business seek to offset their own increased cost and add more money onto the purchases made, right?
So Jamaica, we would have heard some arguments and the facts from a merchandiser for Grace Kennedy Limited production, and I must add to that, Miss Deacon, that I prefer Grace Kennedy things, and to be honest, they are very expensive. And I wanted to thank you for giving us the information of why is it that these prices are so high. But before I'm finished with you, Miss Deacon, give me a solution to this problem.
Okay, my opinion. I firmly
Opinion, you're not putting on your job at risk. I realize that you're very smart. Go ahead.
My own perspective, I firmly believe that we should involve the government, that the government will aid us as a people in implementing policies, even
what about like the amount of taxes, general consumption tax, and things that are coming out of this? Because I can remember quite that corned beef was usually for around $180 to $200, and the last time I checked, a corned beef was between the prices of $350 to $400. And then when I bring it to the cashier, you can see that I have to be paying around $500 to $600. So what is it that they're doing with these taxes that they're getting from these goods and services?
Okay, so due to the high increase and the marketing itself, we have to be going out of our way to get the bulk
Yes.
in items across the world. If, for example, you mentioned corned beef, we get that from Brazil. And Brazil is one of the many countries that was really hit by the pandemic. And so they really increased their funds financially and everything, and we have to be really going out of our way to match the money so we can also get the goods.
Alright, thank you, Miss Deacon. Jamaica, you would have heard these arguments from merchandiser from Grace Kennedy Limited Production, and she stated that one solution to this high price rate problem is that the government can implement policies that can be ineffective. And I want to thank you for that, Miss, and I really want to thank you for clearing up the air, because I was wondering why is it that these things are so high, and I really want to thank you for clearing the air. And this is one of the reasons why we get these representatives from these organizations, because these are pressing issues that I think Jamaica needs some clearance on. So once again, Miss Deacon, I want to thank you. And Jamaica, we're going over to Mrs. Mahoney, who is a principal at the Charity Training Primary and Infant School, and is also a representative from the Ministry of Education and Youth. And I must say, Jamaica, I'm very excited to interview this panelist. And Mrs. Mahoney, I'm sorry for that. I hope and pray that you have solid information for me, because I would have realized that she would have been in the education system for over 5 consecutive years. So Mrs. Mahoney, what are the causes of online schooling?
So the reason for the online schooling, as the Ms. Reynolds said earlier, that because of COVID-19 and the spreading of the virus, we can't afford for our children to be infected by this virus as well.
Right.
So the online schooling will definitely help them to continue getting an education while be safe at the same time.
Right. So before we continue, Mrs. Mahoney, my question to you, as the principal at the Charity Training Primary and Infant School, when COVID-19 wasn't in place, would you say that you had 98% to 100% students attending school daily?
Yes, I can definitely say that due to the whole pandemic, we are seeing less attendance in school, and we can fairly understand why, because as the merchandiser said earlier, the price of stuffs, and also, you know, parents will have to provide digital devices, pay for internet services, and as you know, we are a third world country, so a lot of persons will not be able to afford these stuffs.
And we should also keep in mind that many workers got laid off their job. Right. So my another question to you, Mrs. Mahoney, is that what are the effects of online schooling?
So some of the effects we have is basically students are able to still interact with getting an education and with their teachers. Also, it helps our teachers as well to multitask, because a lot of the teachers are only used to face-to-face education, right? But now this challenge them a little to say, okay, let's try to do it online to see how much they can teach these children. Yes, it is difficult because you're not physically there with them to monitor and so forth. So this is where also the parents will have to come in to say, okay, you will leave the child in a safe space at home, so they will be able to concentrate on their online schooling. It is difficult because as you guys know, we're dealing with infants and primary school children.
Yes.
And with the devices, you know, they want to go on games and all of that. So I will not say it is easy, right? But it is something that we're continuing to work on. So the students, will have a better understanding of education, and also I can say this as well, the government is working with us, right? And some of the parents.
Right.
But Jamaica, I can say this. We need more support, not
Right.
just only parents. Other persons in the community, you can also assist a child with, if you can contribute a device, if the child can come over to use the internet courses, because as we know, education is the key, and every child must learn.
Every child can learn. All right, Jamaica, those were words from Principal Mahoney. And I don't think that I need to go further in asking her solutions, because she did provide solutions. And I also realized that she did not put her career on the line because she picked up for the government. Jamaica, we would have heard causes, effects, and solutions of 3 pressing issues because of COVID-19. And when Principal Mahoney would have finished, she said that we need support, we need help. And Jamaica, I am saying that to say this: we should be our brother's keeper. Our motto said, out of many, one people. We need to care for each other. We need to do what it takes to make our country, our students, our children a better place. We need to uphold our standard for Vision 2030. We need to put whatever measures is to be put in place to make Jamaica the place of choice. Jamaica, we want to thank you. Goodbye. The poem is entitled Conflicts of COVID-19, written by the Drama Group. In pixels and pages, our classroom expands. Masks on faces, protecting our lands. Price gouging deceit, we won't let it win. Through screens and masks, unity within.
In the realm of virtual halls, knowledge takes flight. A digital symphony, learning in the night. Through the webs of history, connections bloom. In the Zoom rooms of education, dispelling gloom.
Masks run like badges, a shield and sign, guarding not just our faces, but a promise to shine.
In this shared journey, a visual embrace,